Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Talk About podcast. And today we are in an oven. We are being cooked alive. Yes, I am struggling in this heat. I work outside in it every 20, I work outside all year round. So it's been a bad week. Very, very bad week. But I need to get a podcast done today because tomorrow I'm having a new tattoo. So I've got to get it done today. The missus is at a birthday party at the moment. So I've got to crack on and get this one done. So let's get this show on the road, shall we? Today we are talking about the Dyatlov Pass, the 9 hikers that went up into the mountains and they never came back. You know, what killed them? There's lots of conspiracies out there. A lot of people still say it's unsolved. Some people say it has been solved. So today we're going to go on there and we're going to have a crack at it. So before we start, as usual, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. So you can contact me on let's talk about pods@gmail.com, or you can follow me at let's_talk_about_pods on Instagram. I've noticed people are doing this LinkedIn thing where I'm linking all of the social media and doing it all on there. So I think I might do that as well. So then I can do a Facebook page. I've got one, but I don't really use it because I don't really use Facebook, to be honest, how much it's fucking cost down that place. So I'm not going to do Facebook. I've got Instagram. I might do a twat talk. I'm not doing Snapchat because I'm not 15. I'll do BlackBerry Messenger, MSN, MySpace. We'll get them all out there and we'll sort something out. But so far, or you can contact me, or you can contact me on Instagram at let's_talk_about_pods, or you can contact me via the email at letstalkaboutpods@gmail.com. When this episode goes up, at the bottom of the episode, you will see a comment section. Please leave some feedback on there. I went to my nan and granddad's funeral this week, and it's like a giant funeral, and I've all the family in there. And then my cousin said to me, he goes, "Neil, liking the podcast." I said, "But the videos I always on, I'm watching them on YouTube, and 'cause I'll post the videos down onto YouTube. The videos I always on there, just every now and then, you're talking about a video and there ain't one there. And then sometimes there is one there. So I'd have a look at that if I was you. But, you know, I said, okay, I'll have a look at it. So I went back, checked it, and he was right. So I went back to Rivershite. I checked Rivershite, and them all on there on Rivershite. So when I'm looking on Rivershite, and there's a video when I'm talking about it, there's a video there when I talk about it, and there's a video there when I talk about it. But when it goes onto YouTube, they're not there. So I haven't got a clue what to do about that. I'm checking it and they're there, but when they get uploaded, they're not there. So fuck knows. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have a look and look at it again this week and then see what happens. But it won't be surprising if it ain't this Riverside because it's doing my fucking head. It took me over 45 minutes to log in today because it just nothing was working. The microphones wasn't syncing up. There was, and at the minute, yes, they am. It was just all over the place today. It's been an absolute fucking shit show. Really, really has. But that's the housekeeping out the way anyway. Now, the social media is coming on slowly, very, very slowly, getting interaction. I think I'm going to check the old phone, see how many people we've got on there now. So on the Instagram, we now have, let's have a look, got 354 followers. I mean, following 529. So that ain't too bad. So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger every week. And yeah, so it is what it is. But like I said, I'll try and explode that a little bit more, try and see if I can reach out to a few more people. But that's it for really today. Like I said, I want to get on with this today because I want to get it out of the way. I'll try and get it done before the missus gets back with the baby. So the Dyatlov Pass. Does anybody know this Dyatlov Pass story? Because this is, if you go on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, everyone will know about this because it's one of the most, I think it's one of the most top 10 downloaded podcasts. It is a strange story. I mean, I've watched a lot of documentaries about this and I'll go into that later on when we start talking about the suspects. But it is interesting, very, very interesting. And as I will go through this podcast, you will realise I will be talking about some things and you'll go, oh, it's this. But then I'll say something and I'll go, oh, it can't be that. It must be this. Then I'll say something that'll turn it to something else. And that's what this story does. When you think you got an answer, there'll be something else that doesn't make sense. And all the way through this entire episode, that's what it will be. The entire thing just won't make sense. It's a really strange story. It really, really is. But let's get on to it anyway. So the Dyatlov Pass. So what we're going to do, as I've said before about this Dyatlov Pass, it's baffled scientists. KGB agents, military experts, paranormal investigators, YouTubers, and the internet detectives for years, ever since it came out. But all the information you're going to see today, I've listened to, like I said, I've listened to a lot of podcasts on this, a lot of podcasts, ranging from the Whatcast. They did a good show. The Bro Ohio did a good show. Mile Higher did a good show. There's loads. You type in the Dyatlov Pass incident, and there is just absolute shitloads. But they the best ones probably I heard, because they're not they don't take it too serious. If you want to look up any information on this, there is hundreds and hundreds of videos on YouTube, but there's also lots and lots and lots of specific websites dedicated to the Dyatlov Pass. One of them is the 1079, the overwhelming force of the Dyatlov Pass. And then we have Slaughter in the Mountains, or we have Myths and Legends, the Dyatlov Pass. All those three individual websites, I've got a lot of information from there. And these do, like, if you name it, it's on there. You've got the pictures of the death scenes, because yes, spoiler alert, they all die. You got picture of them, the bodies. You got picture of the tent. You got picture of even when they got the funerals, they got the photos of the funerals, because believe it or not, I will show you the photos later. And they had an open casket, and that must have been a rough funeral, because some of them photos, some of them caskets definitely should not have been open. But it's got photos of them. It's got photos of the map that they did, the route that there was. It shows you photo. There's just everything. You name it, it's just information on information on information. It's got that much information, they may as well have a fucking shop on the Dyatlov Pass and say, here we go, go onto my website. It's that detailed. It's crazy. But like I said, I'm going to find out how to leave a link in the show, and I'll leave a link in the show to all these things. But like I said, just go on YouTube. There's Discovery channels. They've done lots of episodes about this as well. So if you want to go on to like Discovery Plus, or on like, there'll be channels on there, because I've watched some of them. But I'm going to get me a drink, because as I said, the heat this week, the heat has been absolutely ridiculous. So we'll be drinking a lot of my iron brew through this, because I am cooking. The fan's on in the background, so you may hear that. But that come out the fridge. It's been there for about 15 minutes, and it's now not cold anymore. But it is what it is. By now, you've probably heard the baseline rumour. 9 Soviet hikers went up a mountain, but they never came back. They were all found dead with weird injuries, missing tongues, radiation on the clothes, and much more. But most retellings skip the actual meat and bones of the story, the diary entries, the eerie photos left on the cameras, the local indigenous tribe blamed for the deaths, and the strange anomalies that point to a massive government cover-up. Tonight we're unpacking it all: the journey, the man who escaped by pure luck thanks to having the shits, the horrifying state of the bodies, and the hidden conspiracies you've likely never heard of. So yeah, we're going to go through all of this today, and you can make your own mind up on what's going on. But like I said, this will change your mind over and over again as you listen to this. Our story begins with 10 hikers. They were amateurs, they were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, and were all grade 2 hikers, highly experienced in winter conditions. The goal was to reach Mount Otterton, a peak in the northern Urals. In the dead winter, this route was classified as Category 3, the absolute most difficult and dangerous level possible at the time. They were doing this to earn their grade 3 certification, as they wanted the challenge. So let's get a picture of these people, shall we? So on the screen now, you can see all 10 of the hikers. Now, I will try and say the names, but because the names are not fucked up, and I'm not Russian, I'm not Ivan Drago or Nikolai Volkolov or Boris Yeltsin. I'm going to just say the names once, and then I will refer to them as their what's the name? The first names. Gee, whoa, my mind went blank then. So the leader of the pack is Igor Dyatlov. Hence the reason why it's called the Dyatlov Pass. As then, it wasn't called that originally, but after the what happened, they named it after him. So we have Igor Dyatlov, which is this guy. Yeah. Here we go. Let me show you another picture of Igor Dyatlov. And that's Igor. with his little bit of a goatee beard, got snow on his hat and snow on his hair, and that is the leader of the pack. So we'll go back to it, back to the other people, and then there's 8 guys in total and 2 girls. We have Yuri Doroshenko. We have Lumida Dubinia. We have Alexander Klevetov. We have Zinalda Kolmogorova, Yuri Krovonshienko, Rustem Slobodin, Nikolai Thoibudio Brignoli, Semyon Zolotarov, and Yuri Yudin. Wow, that was hard work. But that's the names, and if you want to try and make sense of them names and read them better than me, jog on. have a blast, because yeah, it's not easy. But that's who there was, and that's like the people who I'm looking at. So we got like that's the 10 oikers, and obviously I just showed you Igor, he was the leader. Igor was a natural leader, yet a bit stubborn. The young men and the young women all joined in as they followed him all the way up to the mountains. Igor was 23, Zinaida was 20, and he was the 5th-year radio engineering student. Zinaida was 22, she was a 4th-year radio engineering student. Ludmila, 3rd-year construction engineer student. She was the youngest member at 20. Yuri Doroshenko was a 4th-year power engineering student. Yuri Krivonshenko, construction engineering graduate, and worked at a secret nuclear facility. Rustem Slobodin was the 23, mechanical engineering graduate, athletic and quiet. Nicholas, I'm not reading that last name, I've already said he once, civil engineering graduate, son of a French communist who executed during Stalin's purges. Alexander Koletkovitov, 4th-year nuclear physics student. Semyon Zolotarov, World War II veteran and sports instructor at 37. So as you can see, them all very early 20s, from them all 20, 22, 23s, apart from the last one, who was Semyon Zolotarov. He got added to the group because he was supposed to have gone on another mission to get his grade 3, but it all went tits up and he couldn't get on it. So he just said to him, he said, okay, if I jump on yours, because as long as I do the tour, I will get the grade. So that's what he did. But the one that I didn't mention was Yuri Yudin, who was 21. He was a 4th-year economics student. He was the one that survived. He turned back on January the 28th due to a severe flare-up of his sciatic nerve pain and rheumatic fever. He passed away in 2013 at the age of 75, having spent his entire life trying to solve the mystery of what killed his friends, and used to famously say to friends, "Why them and not me?" The fact he survived and they all died haunted him till the day he died, and every year he would visit the beginning of the mountain and leave the flowers at the memorial plaque. So even though he had severe sciatic pain and rheumatic fever, he still had to travel back on skis 15 miles in all that pain. So personally, I think what happened was, I think he had a bit of a dodgy curry when they met this Mansi tribe. He tried some of their curry. It was a bit dodgy. He'd had the poppadoms, he'd had the naan bread, and he's just getting the shits. That's what I think anyway. So they might turn around and say sciatic nerve and rheumatic fever. I'll say the shits. So, but he was the only survivor, and I'll get back to him later on. So that's all of them. So that's the 10 people who I've just mentioned. So as you can see, they're more young, fit, experienced hikers. So the journey of the Dyatlov group played out like a classic slow-burning adventure movie. When they were all together in January 1959, their spirits were high, the logs were full of humour, and the route took them progressively deeper onto the frozen abyss of the northern Urals. Every time I say that Urals, I feel like saying urinals, but it's Urals. So what they did, they all took journals, so they all took like diaries, and they had cameras as well. You know, I'm assuming these cameras would have been like the old, like, like the Kodak ones that we used to have back in the day, where you take a photo, you'd wind the film, take a photo, wind the film. But obviously, like a good one, not like the ones that you got from Tesco for like, £3 for a wedding. But that's kind of what it was. And if we show you some of the photos, as you can see here, they are all happy and they're all very jovial and all in good spirits. So that's them before they leave. Them all at the cabin. I ain't got a clue who any of them. I mean, I know that's the people who are with them from the actual university, but them all together, ready to go. And so they're ready to, like, right, let's get shit done. Let's boots on the ground. So that was what they did. And yeah, off they went on the trip. The journey officially kicked off on the evening of January the 23rd, 1959. The 10 hikers gathered in room 531 of the Ural Polytechnic Institute dorms. According to the group's shared diary, it was absolute chaos. People were frantically panicking oatmeal, debating how many cans of meat to bring and yelling about who forgot the salt. On January 23rd, they boarded a night train from Sverdlovsk, now Yakintenberg. Fucking hell, I'm butchering these names. I really do apologise, but these are not easy names to say. Anyway, they got on a night train towards the north. On the train, they sang songs, debated philosophy, and the guys solemnly swore to quit smoking for the duration of the trip. January 24th to the 25th, they arrived in the northern town of Surov, waited for an 11-hour layover, and then took another train to Ivdal, the northernmost railway hub. From Ivdal, they crammed into the back of an open-air logging truck and drove 100 kilometres through the sub-zero winds to Vizhay, the last truly inhabited Soviet outpost. They ate goulash at a local canteen, packed fresh bread, and slept on wooden benches. I bet that fucked the back up. I think I've got a picture of them on the... Here we have. Here we go. So here's the picture of them on the back of the thing, ready, all packed up and ready. They don't seem very comfortable, especially that bloke there. So if I make this bigger, he don't look comfortable there. He looks like someone's got a finger up his arse, and he looks like he's going off on looking at everybody being a little bit awkward. But yeah, it doesn't look very comfortable, does it, that? So rather them than me, that's all I'll say about on that one. But they carried on with the trip. On January the 27th, the group managed to hitch a ride on another truck heading towards the 41st district, an active lumberjack settlement. This was the post where wheels became useless. They strapped on their cross-country skis, loaded their massive backpacks, and began gliding into the taiga forest along the frozen Lozva River. I think I've got a photo of that one as well. Where is it? There we are. This one here. So this is a photo of them on their journey. Now, I mean, that big mountain there is what they're going to be trying to get to the top of. And that's the kind of terrain what they're going through. As you can see, they hit a point where it's completely white out, so you don't even see your hands in front of your face. That looks a hard trek, that does. And this is talking 1959 as well. Experienced hikers or not, that's going to be hard. But as you can see, they are full of good spirits. So I'll show you this photo here. And there they are. All happy spirits. He's giving him a nice hug. As I said, I don't know who these, but obviously that's one of the women. And these are the three people. It's got someone's name there, Mia something, so I don't know if that's her photo, but so you've got that photo there, all happy and jovial, and you've got this one here, where, again, they're all happy, smiling, the two, I think it's the two women, I'm having a hug. I'm sure that's Igor, he's liking it, so that must be when they're at the log cabins, as you can see. So, yeah, as you can see, so far, everything's going well. They're more happy, they're all in good spirits. And I think that's the last of the good photos I've got. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I've got one more good photo. This one here. And this is the last one of the good photos. So there we go. He's pointing the way. Whichever way he's pointing, I would be going the other way. Because you point that way, you're going to fucking die. Go that way, you're going to live. But you can see, they're all happy. There's the camera. She's got what camera actually round her there, as you can see. So they can tell them taking lots of photos and doing lots and lots of documenting of the journey. So I'm assuming that was probably part of getting the certification. But yeah, you can see them all happy, and so far everything's going good. So the next day, on January the 28th, they reached North -2, an abandoned geological settlement. It was here that Yuri Yudin's sciatic nerve pain became unbearable. He couldn't carry his pack or keep pace. The group helped him load up a horse-drawn sled that brought some of their gear, hugged him goodbye and watched him turn back towards Vizhay. And now they're 9. So if you go back to the original lot who was there, the original ones, so you go back to these lot, the one that survived, make it bigger, that's Yuri there. So that was the one who was turned around, and because of his basically wasn't fit enough, he was the one that survived. And obviously he was the one who had to live with that fact. So yeah. Was it good? It was good that he survived, but it didn't do well for him. It basically destroyed him mentally. On January the 29th and 30th, the 9 Oikers turned off the Lozva River and began moving along the valley of the Uspaya River. As they skied through the deep snow, they realised they didn't have to break their own trail. They were gliding perfectly into the fresh tracks of a Mansi reindeer sled. The Mansi, is going to get to these? I think I might get to these in a bit. Zinaida and Igor noted in their diaries that the forest was alive with Mansi signs. They kept finding tamgas, hieroglyphic-like symbols carved into the bark of pine and cedar trees. The students stopped to sketch them in their journals, realising these carvings were a complex indigenous signpost system used by the Mansi hunters to indicate which family owned the hunting grounds, how many hunters were in the area, and how many reindeer were with them. The group actually stayed at temporary abandoned Mansi campsites along the river. They found structural remains of Mansi chums, traditional conical tents made of reindeer hides similar to teepees, and the noted slots carved into trees where the tribe hung sacrificial offerings or stored hunting gear out of reach of wolves. Far from being scared, the students were deeply intrigued by the culture. So, the Mansi people. So, let's have a look. I've got a photo of them. The Mansi people were people who actually lived on the mountain, and here are the Mansi people. Now, people turn around, and these actually were, at the beginning, one of the suspects of the people who killed them. But everyone that knows them is like them people like they get on with everybody, and people they don't hurt no one. Them like a welcoming tribe. But that's the Mansi tribe. People who live off the land, live on the land, and just basically just keep themselves to themselves. They don't go to outsiders, and also outsiders don't go to them. But then again, if you're halfway up a mountain, you ain't going to get many people knocking the door saying, "All right, mate, you got any sugar? I've run out." So that's the Mansi tribe. I'll get back to them in the story later. Just days before ascending the pass, the group encountered a small family of Mansi herders navigating the forest. The meeting was incredibly peaceful. Because of the Soviet students were friendly and intellectual, the Mansi were traditional, hospitable. They engaged in basic trade. The hikers traded small trinkets and manufactured goods for fresh reindeer meat to supplement their heavy diet of lard, oats, and canned pork. Fucking diet of lard! What the fuck? How can you have a diet of lard? And canned pork? Spam. Spam gets everywhere. Spam won the war. Never mind, but mind you, if you probably went to the Dyatlov Pass now and found that canned pork, it'd still probably be edible. And it's like, 80 years old. The Mansi hunters gave Dyatlov a crucial warning. The weather on the higher ridges were changing rapidly, and the winds above the tree line would be merciless. Armed with fresh meat and a full sense of security, the group left the shelter of the forest on January the 31st. They built a labaz, which is otherwise known as a storage cache, in the woods to leave behind excess food and gear for the return on for excess food and gear for the return journey. On February the 1st, they began their fateful uphill ski onto the bare, wind-blasted slope of Kholat Sayakal. Within 24 hours, they would all be dead. On the afternoon of February the 1st, the 9 hikers left their forest base camp and began ascending the slope of Kholat Syakhl. The weather was worsening quickly, with visibility dropping and temperatures plummeting down past minus 30 degrees Celsius. Because of the blinding blizzard, they drifted slightly west of their intended path towards Mount Atorton. Realising they were stuck on the exposed slope of Dead Mountain, Dead Mountain was the name that the Mansi tribe had called it. So if you're going up a mountain and the locals who live on that mountain call it Dead Mountain, that's not a good sign. Dyatlov made a controversial decision. Rather than retreating a mile back down into the trees for shelter, he decided to carry on with the journey. This decision would end up being the worst decision he ever made, and basically signed all 9 death warrants. He ordered the group to camp right here on the barren wind-blasted incline. They dug a shelf on the snowbank, pitched their large canvas tent, and crawled inside to eat a cold dinner of loin fat and bread. They never even lit their stove. Sometime during the middle of the night, disaster struck. An unknown terror caused them to frantically slice the tent open from the inside and flee down the mountain into pitch black storm, entirely undressed. So, as you said that, so when they found the tent, they noticed that the tent was cut. I've got a photo of the tent here. Here we go. So, as you can see on this tent it's got its snow over it now, but when they got rid of all the snow, they realised that the tent had been cut from the inside, as if they cut it and they was watching what was going on. Now, when they spoke to Yuri about what had happened, obviously he spoke to him, and he said there was no way there was that well good at knowing what they was doing. There was impossible that they would cut inside the tent, as they knew that was like one of the things that you don't do, especially being experienced hikers. And also, they don't understand the reason why Igor tried to carry on the journey and then pitch tent on the side of a mountain. When again, being an experienced hiker, you wouldn't do that. You would retreat back into the trees and where the shelter would be. And it was only a mile trek, which was a lot easier than going a mile higher into the mountain, saying, fuck it, we can't get on more. We're going to have to pitch tent here, which is basically what he did. So Yuri turned around and says, I don't understand why it happened. I don't understand why the tent was put there, as they wouldn't, definitely 100% would not have done that. Also, I don't understand why they didn't go back into the woods, which would exactly what they would have done. So there's a bit of controversy already, but as you can see, the tent's there. Little note, it's not covered in snow. That was how they found the tent. Yes, there was snow on it. It's a mountain. There's going to be snow on it. So, but it was not covered. So I'll dig a bit more into that as I go into like later on about what happened. But yeah, so basically, from what they can gather now, there was all in the tent. They've cut the tent open, they're watching something from the inside, and then they've all ran out. Now, when they ran out there, they found out that when they found the tent, there was shoes were still in there, clothes were still in there, and coats were still in there. All the gear was still in there, cameras, the diaries, that was all still in the tent. So basically what's happened is Igor and the gang are watching something. Something's happened. They've cut the tent from the inside out. They've looked through the holes, and suddenly they've gone, fuck it, we need to go. And they've all got up at the same time, and they've all just bolted down the mountain. Now, it's minus 30. Did I say what it was? Did I say it was minus 30? Yeah, it was minus 30 and getting colder. It's a big, massive snowstorm, and they've decided to do that. That does not make any sense whatsoever, because even if if something's going on, they're going to put the shoes on and run. But the one thing that I cannot get my head around is, if I was camping up, now this is the 1950s, these tents are not going to be the best tents. And when they found them, it was a small tent as well. So they would have been literally cuddled up together, because it was only a small tent. Let me put it up again, and you can actually see the size of the tent. So if I put it up again, you can see for yourself. Now, as you can see, that tent is not a big tent for 9 adults to be sleeping in. So, you know, You really wouldn't be. You really would be hugged up together. Now, if people are running out and them barefoot, some are partially dressed, what the fuck was they doing? I thought if I was sleeping in the snow, I would have every single layer of clothes on. I'd have probably two pairs of shoes on, never mind. I'd have about 19 pairs of socks on, about 14 pairs of pants. You know, I would make sure that I am layered up to fuck. Whether I'm going to sleep or not, I would still make sure I've layered up. These have got like shoes off, they've got the socks off, and they've done a runner. And the reason why they know this because when they found the footprints, they found shoe prints. They found footprints that had obviously was done by socks, and they found actually bare footprints as well, normal like barefoot. Which I don't get that. The only thing I can think of, if maybe there was a little bit of Russian loving going on, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying there was, but maybe they would understand why there was a little bit of, maybe they had a little bit of Sade playing in the background, or a nice little bit of, a little bit of, Freak Me from Another Level or something going on, and a little bit of love music was going on. I was feeling like, I know a way of keeping warm. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, if you know what I'm saying. Who knows? But yeah, it's very strange. It's freezing cold and people have not got clothes on. I don't get that. The last photo from the camera, when they reached the cameras, the last photo the university found gave more questions than answers. So they found the photos in the tent, and the photo that they found was this. Now, this photo, even today, people argue what this photo is. Now, some say that is a dropping light, and some say that's an exploding light. I'm not sure, because some people say that, and some people have said, when you for example, when you put your phone in your pocket and you take you catch it with your arse or something like that, and you take a photo, and you pick it up and you're like, I didn't take that photo, and it's just like a blur. Some people say what this is. Some people say it's camera flare. I think they say it's a camera flare. Some people say that it's a photo that's been taken, but the lens cap is still on. So I'm not sure. I'm not a photo expert. I haven't got a clue. But that's what people say that is. Some people say it's a dropping flares, or it's a dropping bomb, or it's a dropping something, or it's left the camera lens on. I'm not sure. I really don't know. But the photo that was before that one as well. So the last two, that was the last photo, and the last but one photo was this photo. So if I make this bigger, so there's the photo of them looking for that people there. They're the rescuers looking for them. But the photo here, as you can see, is a someone bipedal, all in black, peeking around the corner, as if to say, yoo-hoo, I'll make you famous. So, yeah, so that's another picture there. So keep that one in mind as well. So the rescuers are looking for him now. They're going through all the snow. They've found the tent. They've found the cameras and the clothes. They've checked the camera, and the last two photos is, and the reason why they say that's an orange orb, by the way, is there was somebody camping 10 miles on the other side of the mountain, and they said all night they kept hearing bangs and orange flashes. So that's the reason why they think that's an orange one. So let's get back to the actual story. So this is how the tragedy of the Nine Acres unfolded. It happened in agonising slow motion over the next few months as rescuers slowly pieced together what happened. Igor and the team said they would be sending back a telegram. The group was scheduled to arrive in Vizhai and send a telegram to the University Sports Club. Now, they said they was going to do this by February the 12th. It happened on February the 1st, was it? Yeah. On February the 1st, it happened. And they said you will have a message no later than February the 12th. If you don't have it by February the 12th, something's happened. No message arrived on February the 12th, 1959. Initially, families weren't worried, knowing Siberian winter weather frequently causes delays. But February the 20th, 1959, the families were thinking, oi, are we going to go and find these fuckers or what? Because something's happened. You know, it's been how long? You know, tick tock, motherfucker. On the February the 20th, the families started demanding action. The Ural Polytechnic Institute organised the first volunteer rescue team of students and teachers. Soon after, Soviet military planes, helicopters and local Mansi trackers joined the operation. On February the 26th, searchers locate the half-buried tent on the Kolat Sakil. It's abandoned, slashed open from the inside. It contained all their clothes, shoes and gear. The footprints led down towards the woods. So that's February the 26th. So this is 25 days after like the incident. 25 days in the winter, frozen. I mean, they say winter. This is like, you know, this is fucking the winter on steroids, this is. And yeah, they found the tent. And on February the 27th, the first of the bodies was found. So I have got photos of the people that they found. I don't know who they are because I don't think you can tell. If you want to look into it and find out yourself, you can. If you type in on Google or whichever service provider you find, Dyatlov Pass photos, you'll see loads. And if you go onto them 3 sites that I showed you, they go through, because what they do is all the camera footage was put onto like this website, the website. So there's loads and loads of photos. I could do loads of photos all day. But I've took some of the main photos that I'm on there, and I don't know who they are. So you're gonna have to try and work out who they are. The only one I can really picture is Igor. If you have got a dodgy stomach, I would skip this bit and go to the end, because these photos are a little bit graphic. So I'm giving it out there now. Viewer discretion. You watch these at your own. If you're listening, it's not going to be a problem. If you're watching it on YouTube, then you're going to see some of the ones. So the first ones that they found was Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonizenko. They were near a large cedar tree. They were dead from hypothermia and in their underwear. Over the next few days, Igor, Zinaida, and Rustem are found frozen on the slope between the tree and the tent. So the first 2 was on there, and the other 3 was frozen. And I think what it was, they was trying to get back to the tent, and they was all found. The 2 was found at the tree, and the others was trying to get back to the tent. So Igor, I said, this is going to be graphic. So if you want to listen to YouTube, it's not a problem. I'll try and explain it. If you're watching on YouTube, then obviously viewer discretion is advised. So this is Igor, not Yuri. That is Igor. For people on YouTube, listening to Spotify or listen, basically it's Igor covered in snow. He's frozen with his arm up in the air. He's on his back, and he looks really bloated. Obviously, swollen up and stuff, and that's so and frozen. But he's actually got all his clothes on. But that's Igor. And another one that they found was this one. I'm just going to show you now. This is one of the women. I don't know which one you both. They would definitely say this is one of the women. She's on her back, frozen, completely stiff. She looks like she's black. Got like a black face, and her hands are like trying to claw, as if I'm trying to claw something. So yeah, it's another bad photo. And another one is this one. Again, like I said, I don't know who it is. Look, if you can work it out, then have a look at it. But I don't know who they are. There's another one. She or him is sitting down with his arms. You know when you're cold and you rub you put your arms around yourself and you rub yourself. It looks like he was doing that. He or she wasn't. Yeah, she's buried in like a snow crater. She's or he's. I'm not sure. Next one is this one. That's just a picture of someone's head. It looks like he's got a lot of blood in on his mouth, and he's basically just lying in the snow. That's that one really. And the next one is this one. This is what I think they removed this body from an actual place, and I think what they've done is they've put it there basically to try and thaw out. But I think obviously with cold and rigor mortis, that's the way she was lying on her back with her knees up in the air, like as if like a fetal position. Yeah, she's got a lot of bruising on her face, on the side, and she's got clothes on. So the next one is probably one of the worst ones. I've got one more normal one here to show you. As you can see, if I make this bigger, that was one of them as well. He's got his clothes on, again buried in the snow, eyes open, just frozen to death. Basically, it really is. They're not nice pictures. Them, it's pictures of death, which is not nice. This one is the most graphic, so beware. So I'm giving you advice. If you don't look at it. This was one, and this was one that they found in a river. And when they found this one in the river, the eyeballs were removed, the tongue was removed, and also the skin and the flesh at the back of the mouth was also removed. So it was found in a stream. So, yeah. There was rumours saying that they found blood inside the stomach, or his stomach, whichever one it is. And they said they think the tongue was removed while they was alive. And then some said the eyeballs was removed while they was alive. But no one knows. I mean, that's just a thing. I don't think that happened. I will come to that later on in the episode, but I just think that was just something that they say just to try and make it more graphic and horrible and horror disgusting. So, yeah. But that's the bodies. And there's one more here. But they found some bodies. I'm going to come on to it. I might as well show you the photo because I don't know who they are. They was found in a ravine. And that was how they was found. So you got the three of them there, hugged up together, three hugged together, and you got one on her knees, like sitting up. That is probably that woman in that photo who said he's doing the fetal position. That is probably the same person. But as you can see, it's like they've come down. It's like as you have like a river that comes down and it drops and goes back down again. So, and she's on her knees, leaning up, and on where her head is, there's a shelf, and there's three of them cuddled together, lying on the shelf, and all three of them are dead. So we'll get back to that all them later. But that's all. That's all the photos I've got. And yeah, the next photo is a photo of where the bodies was found in relation to the tent. So there's the mountain, as you can see. If you type in Google, if you go in Google or wherever you use the Dyatlov Pass map, there's more detailed ones of this. But I thought this one, a lot of them in Russian as well, but this one was a lot easier. So there's the tent. So I'm trying to get the mountain, and there it is, the tent. So you can actually see they've gone 2,000 meters down to where the woods are. In the woods, they found the two bodies of Georgie and Yuri. I thought there's both Yuri. It's got Georgie here, and one of them Yuri. I think they're both Yuri. I think there's a bit of a mistake there. He says they are dressed in their underclothes. Remains of the fire lay nearby. The branches on the trees were broken up to 5 meters high. So obviously they started a fire, and they tried to climb the trees. Then 75 meters from where they were, there was another 4 bodies found. That was the one that's in the ravine, the one that's where she's on on her knees, and the 3 of them cuddled up together. So the 3 cuddled up together, and the one on her knees, that is Nicholas, Lumila, Alexandra, and Alexander. So it's the 2 Alexanders, Ludmila and Nicholas. That is this photo. So stop sharing that one. That is that one. So that is that photo there. So they're 75 metres from Yuri and Yuri. So if I stop sharing that one and go back into this one, and on this one, as you can see, from where the tree line is, they thought they was going back up the mountain to try and get back to the tent, but they actually went the wrong way. So 300 metres, 480 metres and 630 metres, they found Igor, Zina and Rustam. The way the bodies were aligned indicated that the three had been trying to return to the camp. Doctors said 5 had died of hypothermia. Slobodin's skull was fractured, but the injury was not considered fatal. Nicholas, Lumila and the 2 Alexanders, their bodies were buried under 4 metres of snow in a forest ravine. Tabila's skull had been crushed, and Dubina and Zoltov had numerous broken ribs. Dubina had also had no tongue. The body showed no external wounds. The 4 were better dressed than the rest. Zatarov was wearing Dubina's fake fur coat and hat. Dubina's foot was wrapped in a piece of Plashenko's woolen pants. A test of the clothes found they contained high levels of radiation. So these 4 here are, because obviously they found Yuri and Yuri. And I think what's happened is they found them and went, fuck them dead. So we can't do anything to them. So what we'll do, but we need the clothes. So they took the clothes off them. And then that's the reason why they was dressed up. So I think that what they did, they wasn't going to go back to the tent. They tried to head back away from the mountain. But obviously they fell down the ravine, and that's what happened. The injuries that they've got, the broken ribs and the skull and the crushed skull, I'm going to show you a photo now of what they said could have happened. So I'll stop sharing you that one. And the photo that could have happened is what they call an avalanche slab. So you have an avalanche where the mountain, all the snow comes down the mountain, go bang, 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 bang. But here we have something called an avalanche slab, which is basically, instead of the mountain coming down like in all bits, it comes down like in one big massive block. As you can see, a big square block. And if someone's already dead and that slab comes down, okay, you're thinking, oh, it's a slab of ice. There's not going to be a lot of weight on that. That's going to be fucking heavy. There's going to be a lot of weight into that. And if he's already dead as well, so he's not going to be able to protect himself, that's going to come crushing down straight on his ribs, break off, bump, and crash onto his head and crush his skull. And that's how they think that happened, which makes a lot of sense to me, that does. Because on the outside, on the skin, there wasn't no scratches or abrasions or cuts. It's like he got crushed from the inside out, but that would make sense. And because there's no blood going around the body and how cold he was, there's not going to be no bruising. So that makes complete sense to me, that does. So, yeah. So that's all the photos, and that's the map of where they was found. So let's get back into it. After they found Igor, Zinaida and Rustam, it took them another 2 months before they could actually go and find them, because the weather got that bad they couldn't go in there and find them. So they got Igor. So they got first. They found 5 of the bodies, 5 of the 9. They found the Yuri and Yuri. They found Igor, Zinaida and Rustam. So they've got 5 of the bodies. On May the 4th, so you're talking 2 months later, as the spring thaw begins, Manchu trackers find the remaining 4 Ikers. They were buried under 15 feet of snow in a ravine deeper in the woods. Their bodies showed horrific internal crushing trauma. So that is the other 2, and that is the picture I showed you with the slab coming down. There's also them ones in the ravine. It's that picture that I showed you of them being in the ravine. To visualise how the night ended, we have to look at how bodies were positioned across roughly 1.5 kilometres of frozen mountain slope. Because the bodies were discovered in 2 distinct waves over a 3-month period, their states varied drastically. The autopsy reports revealed a bare mix of hypothermia, violent blunt force trauma, and a gruesome decay. So let's look at group 1, the cedar tree and the slope. These are the bodies that was found in February and March. The first 5 bodies were found within weeks of the incident. These individuals were mostly underdressed, some in just socks or underwear, and the primary cause of death was ruled to be hypothermia. So Yuri and the other Yuri, they were found at the edge of the forest under a massive ancient cedar tree, lying near the frozen remnants of a small campfire. Both two of the Yuris were stripped down to their underwear, and they were barefoot. Their hands were severely burned, suggesting they had desperately reached directly into the fire for a warmth as hypothermia set in. Krivonishenko had a piece of skin bitten off his own knuckle, a known tragic reaction to extreme frostbite and agony as victims lose sensation. The lower branches of the cedar tree were snapped off up to 15 feet high, and traces of skin and blood and flesh were found on the bark, indicating they had desperately tried to climb the tree to look back toward the tent. Some people say they've climbed the tree. Some people actually turned around and said they fell from the tree, and that's the reason why they've got the injuries. So I'd say they climbed the tree to have a look, to be honest, because that's what you would do in that sort of a situation. Igor, Zinaida, and Rustam. These three were found scattered on the slope between the cedar tree and the tent, spaced out hundreds of meters apart. Their position suggested they were crawling in a desperate line up the mountain toward the tent when they collapsed. Igor was found on his back, one hand gripping a small birch branch, with his arms frozen, bent in front of his chest, as if he was protecting himself. He wore no boots. Zinaida was found further up the slope. She had a large, severe bruise on her side that looked like it was caused by a heavy blow from a blunt object. Rustam. He was found buried under the snow between Dyatlov and, what was her name? Zinaida. Uniquely, the snow directly beneath the body had melted and refrozen into a snowbed, meaning his body was still warm when he fell. Autopsy revealed a bilateral fracture in his skull, about 6 inches long, though hypothermia was still ruled as his official cause of death. Group 2, the ravine. These were the bodies that was found in May 1959. The final 4 hikers were not found until 3 months later, when the spring thaw exposed them, buried under 13 feet of snow. 13 feet, that's a fucking lot of snow, that is. 13 feet. So just think about it, that's like 2 grown adults basically standing on top of each other and a little bit more. They were found 13 feet in snow in a ravine roughly 75 metres away from the cedar tree. Unlike the first group, 3 of the hikers died from massive, horrific physical trauma. Nikolai. Sometimes say it's first and sometimes going down the thing you name. Nikolai suffered a catastrophic skull fracture that crushed his bone inward. Alexander and Ludmila both had their chest cavities completely crushed, resulting in multiple fractured ribs. Doctors have compared the force required to cause these internal injuries as a high-speed car crash. Bafflingly, despite their crushed bones inside them, none of these 3 hikers had any corresponding external wounds, severe bruising, or lacerations on their skin. It was as if a massive blunt pressure wave had compressed their bodies without breaking the skin. Amelia was found face down in a small stream running through the ravine. Her tongue, the floor of her mouth, and both of her eyes were completely missing. Zolotayrov was also missing his eyeballs. That one with the missing tongue. That is the one who decided the worst photo that I showed you, the most graphic one. This group was better dressed than the first, but forensic analysis showed they were wearing a chaotic mix of clothing. Some of the garments had been cut off the bodies of the 2 Yuris, and after they had died, showing these survivors tried to strip the dead to keep themselves warm. The Dyatlov Pass incident had generated an expansive web of explanations because the Soviet government abruptly classified the investigation files and blamed the deaths on an unknown compelling force. A massive vacuum was created that enthusiasts, historians, and investigators have been trying to fill for over 60 years. So, at this time of the year, you know for a fact the Russians was up to some dodgy shit. And then, of course, the Dyatlov Pass happens, and they turn around and said, they all died from hypothermia, and they all died from an unknown compelling force. Would you take that if you was one of them 9 hikers' family? I don't think you would. So now we're going to go on to the well-known conspiracy theories. Well, I thought maybe they got maybe the old Ivan Drago a little bit of money. And he went up to him, I want my money. And I went, we don't have your money, man. And he went, I must break you. And he broke. So he done that. He punched the mountain and all the snow come down. So Ivan Drago, let's put him on the list. Number 1, the secret weapons test and military cover-up. The hikers camped on a live, highly classified military testing ground. They were killed either by a malfunctioning intercontinental ballistic missile, the parachute bomb, or an early prototype of a thermobaric weapon. I haven't got a fucking clue what that is. A lot of people said on the other side of the mountain, the ones that said they saw the orange orbs coming down from the sky, they was parachute bombs. It was being tested for the first time, and that was actually what's the word? Approved, confirmed, like in like the 90s, I think. The high levels of radiation found on the clothing of the 2 Yuris, who both had ties to the Soviet Union and nuclear industry. Multiple witnesses, including the local Mansi hunters and a separate Icon group 50 kilometres away, reported seeing strange glowing orbs in the night sky over the Urals throughout February 1959. Oh, excuse me. Proponents believe the military staged the crime scene afterwards, mixing up the clothes and dragging the bodies around. There's a lot to go on there, but basically all it is saying the KGB was doing some secret, dodgy military tests. They was caught in the crossfire, and then they tried to cover it up. The infrasound, the voice of the wind. A naturally occurring aerodynamic phenomenon drove the hikers mad. The unique topography of the mountain combined with the fierce Siberian winds created a Kármán vortex street, generating low-frequency infrasound waves. Infrasound is below the human hearing threshold but vibrates the inner ear, triggering intense, overwhelming panic, extreme vertigo, nausea, and terrifying visual hallucinations. Theorists argue this sudden phantom dread caused the hikers to slash open their tent in a collective state of hysteria and flee into the dark. Infrasound is the say tigers use it and Bigfoot, but the tiger one, I reckon, because tigers can get like literally within yards of the prey, and they reckon when they see like the deer, they do like a really low guttural growl that obviously we can't hear, but the deer do, and for that split second it freezes them, and that's when they come out and that's when they get them, and that's the reason why before they know it, they're on top of them. So whether they can or not, I'm not sure, but obviously if you've got a mountain, so you've got triangle mountains, and you've got the wind, it's circulating through them mountains. Now, as it sits in the mountain, it's going to change, and you're going to get like a lot of like vortexes, and you're going to get a lot of things and echoes coming off all different noises. So the infrasound thing, yeah, I can understand that. And also them saying like if infrasound does happen to people, it can drive people crazy and send them on like some really, really fucked up shit. I don't think that happened on this one. But I do think that probably did happen, but I don't think that was the cause. The Mansi trial. The Mansi tribe ritual murder. The students trespassed on land sacred to the indigenous Mansi people and were slaughtered by the native hunters for defiling their territory. Initial Soviet investigators focused heavily on this, arresting several Mansi men. However, it was quickly debunked. No non-hiker footprints were found. The tent was cut from the inside, and the Mansi were actually peaceful and aided the rescue. The Soviet Yeti, the Menk. So, the Soviet Yeti. Now, the Menk is a relation to the Bigfoot. So, do you think that this could be the Menk? Let's let me get a drink quick. Sorry, bro. So, does that look like a Bigfoot to you? Personally, I don't think it does. I think that was one of the Mansi tribe looking around, maybe hunting, and actually saw them. Because to me, them black clothes, if anyone's on Spotify when I'm listening to, I'm looking at a bipedal man, all in black, and even like there's no facial features at all. It's literally like a real life shadow. That's what it looks like. That does not look like a Bigfoot to me. One, it looks too small. And two, it's not built like a shithouse. And three, it's just like someone wearing a lot of clothes with about 15 balaclavas on. That's what it looks like to me. But it is on the story. One of the theories, the group was hunted and brutally attacked by a mink, the Siberian cryptid equivalent to the Bigfoot. The massive internal car crash-like crushing injuries suffered by Dubina and Zoltarov, which occurred without severe external soft tissue bruising. The theories also point to a highly controversial frame on one of the recovered rolls of film that shows a blurry, dark, bipedal figure standing among the trees at the edge of the forest. That's the one that I've just showed you. So we're going to go into some lesser known and hidden conspiracies. Because believe it or not, those four things and the main ones, the secret weapons, the infrasound, the Mansi tribe, and the Soviet Yeti, they're the four main ones. I've looked at some lesser known and hidden conspiracies. The KGB versus the CIA is a controlled delivery of the breaking theory. Popularized by Russian historian Alexei Raikin, this theory claims that the Oik was an elaborate front for a counter-espionage operation. Three members of the group, Semyon, Yuri, and Alexander, were supposedly low-level KGB assets. Their mission was to meet a team of deep-cover CIA spies disguised as an ordinary Oikin group in the wilderness. The KGB agents were supposed to deliver intentionally radioactive clothing samples to the Americans to pass along false information about the Soviet nuclear advancement. There's a twist, though. The meeting went wrong. The CIA agents realised it was a sting operation, stripped the students of their gear to let them freeze, and brutally crushed the ribs and skulls of those who fought back. This provides a rationale for radiation, the presence of the much older Zatarov, and the immediate total lockdown of the investigation files by the state. So they think that the three of them was undercover agents and working inside for the KGB. I don't think so. I don't get that one. Here's number one. An escapee from an insane asylum. The Oikers were ambushed and executed by a group of escaped convicts from the Ivadol Lag, a nearby network of Soviet forced labour camps. A variation of this theory suggests that it wasn't the prisoners who killed them, but rather Gulag prison guards. The theory states that the guards mistook the student group for escaped convicts in the blinding blizzard. After realising they had accidentally beaten and murdered innocent college students from the prestigious families, the guards panicked, staged the tent, and used the military clearance to cover up the blunder. Again, it's very far-fetched. The parachute mine illumination flares. The military was conducting midnight navigation or targeting drills using heavy, slow-descending parachute mines or massive illumination flares. One of these burning eye chemical devices floated down directly over the tent, casting a terrifying, blinding light and blinding heat, or releasing toxic chemical fumes. Struggling to read today. This heat. This explains why they fled in total panic about looking back, and why early searchers reported that the skin of the victims had a deep, unnatural brick red or orange tan. So I do believe in that one. I really do think it's that one. Think about it, if you're asleep and suddenly you've got bang, 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 and flashes and flashes and flashes, and they're getting closer and closer and closer. Yeah. Here's one. Ergot poisoning, the toxic bread. One of the most obscure biochemical theories suggests that the group has suffered from ergotism. Ergot is a fungus that grows on rye and grain. If milled into flour, it causes severe poisoning. Ergot poisoning causes intense muscle spasms, convulsions, and severe violent psychosis/hallucinations, similar to involuntary LSD trip. Theories suggest the group ate contaminated bread at dinner, suffered mass delirium, took their own tent open, ran into freezing cold in an hallucinatory state, and injured themselves falling down the rocky ravine in the dark. Oh, it's not a bad idea, I suppose, but they wouldn't know what mushrooms to eat and what not to eat. So, but I do think that's one about another topic called the Commander ban. The scientifically accepted truth. While the conspiracies are captivating, modern science points to a delayed slab avalanche. By cutting a shelf into the snow to pitch their tents, the hikers inadvertently compromised the structural integrity of the slope. Hours later, heavy, freezing Kabatic winds deposited tons of dense snow on top of the weakened layer, causing a heavy slab of compact ice and snow to break loose and smash directly into the tent while they slept. The blunt force trauma caused the broken skulls and ribs. Trapped in a collapsed tent and fearing a second avalanche, they cut their way out, carried the injured friends down to the trees as they come to the freezing cold. The mission eyes and tongues are simply the result of natural wildlife scavenging after death. The iScience Times posted that the hikers' deaths were caused by hypothermia, which can induce a behaviour known as paradoxical undressing, in which hypothermic subjects remove their clothes in response to perceived feelings of burning warmth. The 6 out of 9 hikers died of hypothermia is not undisputed. The hypothesis doesn't address why the hikers fled the tent in the first place. The temperature inside the tent would have been low enough to introduce paradoxical undressing. So what I'm saying there is, due to the fact they was that cold, this paradoxical undressing they took the clothes off. And that's the reason why 2 of them they have clothes on, which I don't believe that. Now, and they're saying that because that's what happened to them while they was in the tent. And then they started having this paradoxical undressing, and that's the reason why they went out, like, only half-dressed, some of them. Maybe that would make a bit of sense. But like I said, 6 out of 9 hikers died of hypothermia. So that's what the official cause is. I think personally, I think those all died from hypothermia, to be honest. So I don't know where they get that from. So iScience Times posted that the hikers' deaths were caused by hypothermia, which can induce a behaviour of paradoxical undressing. The hypothesis doesn't address the temperature inside the tent would not have been low enough to induce paradoxical undressing. So if the temperature inside the tent, obviously the tent would have been a lot warmer. So why did they run? I mean, end of the day, if you think about it, I've showed you the photo of how they found the tent. They would have been better, no matter what was going on, staying in the tent. That would have saved them. One of the people turned around and said, maybe it was the Russian Yeti. Bradford states, the Russian Yeti would have us believe that the 9 hikers, Bradford states, I would have us believe that the 9 skiers had an encounter with a Yeti, which they not only saw and photographed but stalked them. Yet none of the skiers mentioned anything else about the Yeti or their shock of having photographed the creature. In fact, if Lebecki is to be believed, their encounter with a Yeti was such an insignificant event that they didn't mention it all in their journals and continued their journey uninterrupted. At the end of the show, Lebecki admits he found no evidence that the Yeti exists. So someone's gone on there and said, oh no, we've done it. It was the Yeti or the mink. Not a mink. That's like an animal, like a weasel. A mink, M-E-N-K. Or, fuck it, for instance, but you're going to say it's a Yeti. It's a black Yeti. They're saying it's him. It's a Yeti who did it. It answers all the questions, but I've got no evidence that the Yeti even exists. So there is actually a TV program. It's on Discovery Plus. It's called The Killer in the Snow? Yeti in the Snow? Yeti, Killer Footprints in the Snow. There's Killer Footprints in the Snow. And this guy goes out with a woman and the document, and they concentrate so much on that photo, that bipedal image, and they try and turn around and say it was a Yeti. They try and do it, and they try and push and push and push and push. But everywhere they go, he goes, no, we're a Yeti. No, it's not a Yeti. No, it's not a Yeti. So I don't think it's that. Numerous speculative theories surrounding the mysterious case. He mentions the name of the hiker's ultimate destination, the mountain Oraton, in the Mansi language means don't go there. It also translates to Dead Mountain. So The part that was going to in Orchton means don't go there. Koyat Slakal means dead mountain. This suggests that the general area was known to the local Mansi tribe as dangerous or cursed. So they turn around and say that. They ones who live there, they know what's going on. I'm saying the mountain is called don't go there. So you don't go on the mountain. And the bit that you're going to is called the mountain of the dead. So don't do it. Don't go there. It's the mountain of the dead. It's pretty rocket science, really, isn't it? So, I don't know. The rapid closure and subsequent classification of the Dyatlov Pass case are exactly what fueled decades of conspiracy theories. The Soviet bureaucracy handling of the files created a perfect storm of suspicion. The timeline of the official investigation was remarkably brief, given the gruesome and bizarre nature of the scene. May 1959. The last 4 bodies were recovered from the ravine once the snow began to melt. May 28, 1959. Merely weeks after finding the final bodies, lead investigator Lev Ivanov, there's a lot of V's in that name, officially closed the case. So literally, what's that? 2-3 weeks? The official verdict did not explicitly say hypothermia for everyone. Instead, it famously concluded that the Oikers died due to a compelling natural force or elemental force that they were unable to overcome. Because the state could not pinpoint a human culprit or an exact mechanical cause, they shut the book, ruled it an act of nature, and moved on. So, within a month, they found these bodies. They've gone, yep, and they're frozen. Yep, I'll just hypothermia. And they died from hypothermia. Yeah, but these have got crushed ribs, and that one ain't got no eyes, and that one ain't got a tongue. Oh, that's a compelling natural force. Don't worry about it. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. In the 1950s Soviet Union, secrecy was the default setting for almost everything. But 2 specific factors triggered the immediate lockdown of the Dyatlov files. The USSR heavily policed public perception, admitting that 9 elite, highly trained Soviet citizens could panic, flee into the night, and freeze to death of a routine expedition looked terrible for a state prestige. Furthermore, rumour mills were already spinning up. Family members noticed the bodies had strange orange-tinted skin at the funerals, and this was thought to have been done by radiation poisoning, but it is now known to be a side effect of natural mummification and sun exposure on the snow. The military overlap. The Ural Mountains were home to sensitive military areas, and rocket tests were frequently conducted in the border region. When the initial search teams and local Mansi tribesmen reported seeing glowing orange orbs in the sky around the time of the deaths, the regional government panicked. Even if the orbs had nothing to do with the deaths, the mere mention of potential military airspace activity forced the regional prosecutor's office to hand the files over to the secret archives. Key details such as the testing that found traces of radiation on a few pieces of clothing belonged to the Oikers who worked in nuclear facilities were heavily redacted or kept out of public view to avoid drawing attention to the Soviet nuclear program. So they gave the guy, the one with the nuclear bit of radiation on his stuff, and they went, oh, he works in a nuclear plant? That's where it's come from. Don't worry about it. He doesn't wash his clothes. Why did they wait till the late 90s to reinvestigate? This case lay dormant for nearly 40 years due to absolute state control. The shift only happened because of a massive political collapse. During the late 1980s, policy of glasnost, openness, and the subsequent collapse of the Soviet Union, millions of secret state documents were declassified. Then we have the confession of Lev Ivanov in 1990. 1990, the original retired prosecutor, Lev Ivanov, broke his silence. He published an article admitting that he had been ordered by high-ranking regional Communist Party officials to close the case immediately and classify the files. He even admitted that he personally believed flying spheres or secret weapons testing played a role which completely reignited public obsession. By the late 1990s, surviving friends, family members, and independent researchers formed official groups to pressure the new Russian government to open the archives, completely leading to the first major waves of unredacted public analysis. The Russian government eventually launched an official reinvestigation that concluded a severe slab avalanche was the catalyst, but the decades of forced Soviet silence ensured the KGB cover-up narrative would never truly disappear. They have forgot one thing here, and when I've listened to the podcast, the Bro Hoyo brought this up a lot, Nick and Rob, they brought it up as well. I think Modcast might have brought it up as well. No one's mentioned aliens. What about if aliens did it? Now, there's a long shot, I know, don't get me wrong, but there's radiation, you've got infrasound, you've got flashing lights, you've got orbs in the sky. The KGB say, it's us, we ain't doing fuck all, whoa, it's us. What else could it be? Could it be aliens? Could it be UFOs? If it's the name's UFO, the unidentified flying object, they don't know what it is. So could it be aliens? I don't think it is. But a lot of podcasts do actually turn around. So I've listened to a lot of podcasts about this. And quite a few podcasts have actually mentioned aliens and the fact that no one actually talks about them or mentions them. So could it be that? I mean, end of the day, if you see a UFO comes down, ship, lands, nanu, we come in peace. I mean, would they have a Russian accent? We come in peace, nanu. It would fucking leggy. But I don't think it's aliens. But it has got to go in there as like a possibility. If you're saying the Menk stroke Yeti is a contender, a suspect, then you've got to say aliens as well. So what do you think happened? Let me know at letstalkaboutpods@gmail.com or let me know at lets_talkaboutpods on Instagram. Personally, I think I've cracked this. I think I've done because I've done a lot of Scooby-Dooing back in the past, and my Scooby-Dooing has always been A1, bang on the money. I think I've sorted it. First things first, Dyatlov fucked up, pitched the tent in the wrong place, and he put it in the wrong place at the worst possible time. The Mansi told him, don't go up, get down, because it's getting really bad out there, so we need cover. He went, no, I'm Igor Dyatlov. I've watched Rocky 4. I've been in the gym with Ivan Drago, done a bit of sparring with him. I know what I'm on about. He walked up 100 metres and went, fuck, I've fucked up here. I can't go back down because it's going to make me look bad. They'll pitch a tent. So Igor fucked up. Second thing, I think they started hearing bangs and bombs going off, and they were seeing flashes in the sky due to the top secret weapon experiments that was getting closer and closer. And these flashes and the bangs, they was looking at them. It was like, shit, we need to, stop them from shagging over there and getting warm. We need to get out of here quick. So you think about it, right, as well. If this is 95th Nines and Russians, you're going to be talking, there's going to be a lot of bush. There's going to be a lot of bush there if they aren't going down to some loving. There's going to be a lot of bush. Pants are going to be fucking huge. I'm talking massive fucking pants. Bridget Jones on steroids pants. So they're making some sweet loving, and they're hearing the bombs. I'm like, fucking come on, we got to go. So they hear the bangs, bump, out they go. Also, if they am dropping parachute bombs and parachute mines, if they am going to set off bangs and them on the snow, it's going to cause a snowslide. So that's my opinion. They had the bangs, they've seen the flashes, the snow started coming, quick, we got to go because it's going to turn up into it. Instead of being a snowslide, it's going to be a massive avalanche. So, and that's the reason why they did. So they all got up and they all ran. So once I'm outside, I mean, to get outside, it's minus 30 plus. Even if you're wrapped up, even if you've got like clothes, you're not going to survive that. You've got absolutely no chance. You're probably going to be dead within an hour, to be honest. The injuries that were caused from falls and from slabs of ice falling on them, and there was melting over the bodies, hence no outside damage to the skins and all the internal damage. Yeah, like I said, I think the crushed skulls, the fractures, the crushed ribs, the broken jaw, the crush on the skulls. I think that's come from literally from the slabs of the ice hitting them and breaking it. That's where I think it's done. And the missing eyes and the tongues and all that, that's the animals. You think about it, the animals down there, you're going to have like snow foxes. You're probably going to have some birds. You're probably going to have, I mean, there's a ravine, so I'm not saying there ain't no fish in there, maybe some salmon or something in there. Bears, you know, I mean, you think about it, a bear, I don't think a bear would scavenge you. I mean, you got, is it Timothy Treadmill, the grizzly man who got ate by a bear when they found his body? They found bits of him because he got eaten alive. There was no bite marks. Their claws are like razor blades. He would have torn skin off them. So I wouldn't say it's a bear, but it would be little animals, maybe snow foxes, maybe birds, maybe squirrels. I don't, little animals. I think it would be. So, and I think what's happened is then once the KGB heard of this, they said, "Listen, we need to keep this on the fucking hush hush. We've been doing secret weapons. Them fucking idiots are there and they shouldn't be there. So we need to cover this up. So get all the documents as little as possible, put it in a file, throw away the key, and leave it at that." So I think I've cracked it. Igor was being stubborn. He went where he shouldn't have gone. They was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was secret military testing going on. The KGB said, "Fuck what they doing there. They shouldn't have been there. Get them away." The bodies, they were later there for a while. Animals saw them, said, put a little bit of tissue down the chair, went, "Woohoo, tea time." I think it's just one place, one time in nature. That's personally more simple thing, of it. Let me know what you think. What do you think? It was aliens? Do you think it was Yeti? Do you think it was a cover up? Another one that was a mistake that someone actually turned around and said was Igor was jealous because one of them was, they said they wasn't going to smoke and apparently they wasn't going to have sex or do anything naughty while they was on this trip. So some people have said like Igor fancied one of the girls and they were paying him no attraction. So, because his bush was big enough. And so they had to look at the other guys and they had bigger bushes. So the girls was going pally and getting a little bit, friendly with them. And Igor, they like it. And he ended up becoming a serial killer. And he chased them all out with with a weapon. That was one, on the one podcast I heard this, that was one that turned around and said that. They said Igor was a serial killer. He had a crazed episode because the women that were paying no attention. So he went on a killing mission. I don't believe that at all. I really don't. I'm just giving you all everything that I've heard off the podcasts and off some of the research that I've seen. That was what they said. So Igor didn't kill him. He just, maybe he's a bit stubborn. That's the reason why they ended up being where they was, and they shouldn't have been. That's down. You can't blame no one else. He was the leader of the pack, so he was the capitan. So you got to put that down on him. He should have gone back down 100 meters into the trees and shit and done like put a tent up there and like shelter sort of thing. Crazy. 100 meters and you would have saved. That would have been safe. Crazy. Fucked up. Anyway, it's Saturday today. And like I said, the missus at the party and that. So I haven't got a Sunday roast. So I'm not going to do a Sunday roast. I'm going to do a Saturday shit show. So it's a Saturday shit show that's happened to me. I use a Google Chromebook. And using a Google Chromebook, because I use Riverside, it has lots of things you could use. There's lots of, on the sidebar, you have a lot of AI stuff you can use and a lot of things you can do. Like, I obviously, as you can tell, I'm in the Let's Talk About Podcast Studios, which is my living room. As you can see, the sofa, there's a thing there. It's got some, as you can see, it's got some like things over there. And if I showed you over there, you'd see photos of the kids and they're on the wall and stuff and that. So it's my living room. But on Riverside, you can put fancy backgrounds on. So it could be like, I could have done this story and I could have had like the mountains behind me and stuff. And I could have like little bits where I do, and the photo comes there. Or I do this and the photo comes there. Right. But because I use a Chromebook, I can't use any of them features for some reason. I don't know why. It just comes up and says, your computer it's not sufficient for this something. I don't know what it is. So a few people have said, I looked on Riverside and I know some of the things on YouTube and they said, Apple MacBooks, Apple MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs, and the best things for it. I've never used Apple. I've been Android since day one, since 2001, since I had my first Nokia 5510. And then I had a Nokia 3210 or 3310, because he was the fatter one. 3210, come down and was a bit leaner at the bottom. This one was all round, so it was 3310. I've been Android all the while. Anti-Apple. Never liked Apple. Ryan loves Apple. Bell loves Apple. They've got the iPhones and stuff and that. I can't stand it. I've never used it. I haven't got a clue. If Ryan said, Dad, you can have a look at this for me, and I'm like, Ryan, I haven't got a clue, mate. You'll have to hold the phone and do it yourself, so I don't know. But anyway, I went down a shop that sells second-hand computers, and I saw a MacBook Air for 170 quid. So I thought, you know what? It's for the podcast. It's an investment. So I'll buy it because it's an investment. And maybe you can lead on to better things, because I know you can do a lot of Riverside. If it's on the mood, you can't edit anything. It really does fuck up the editing. So on that one, you can do a lot of editing stuff on there. It's just already built in. Well, okay, I'll do it. I spoke to Matt from Mockcast, and he said to me, he was asked the other podcast when that was going on. I was just having a general chat. And he goes, yeah, I use a MacBook. So he says they aren't good. So if Matt turns around and says MacBooks are good, and I'll take his word for it. At the end of the day, like, he's him and the bro oil, and the reason why I'll do a podcast. So I went and brought me this MacBook Air. I thought it's a lot of money, but I'm gonna have to do it. So I brought this MacBook Air. 3 days I've been trying to work out to fucking use it. 3 fucking days I've been trying to use it. Oh my God. What a complete pile of shit, them man. Absolute ridiculous. Create an Apple ID. Took me all day to try and create an Apple ID, and I couldn't do it. He wouldn't let me do it. No matter what email I used. Whether it was the podcast email, whether it was my personal email. Oh God, he was, plus doing that in this heat was a fucking hell, man. It was ridiculous. Look at Mrs. J. She was laughing her bollocks off at me because I was just having rants. And he was driving me mad. Really, really was. I even made, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see a picture I created on here of me saying, fuck off, MacBook or something like that. Oh God, I hated it. I cannot do it. I've tried, failed. I'm going back to Android. I've got to go back to Android. So I'm still on my Chromebook. And that's the reason why you still got the living room picture there. But I've spoke to Bell, and Bell's got a laptop that runs Windows 10 or Windows 11, which I brought her when she started college. It's one of these flip down. You can have it as a laptop. You can have it as a tablet. It's a good laptop, basically. So I've had a word of that, and I said, do you want to do a trade? So me and Bell are going to swap. So she's having the shit book. That's what I'm going to call it. The cack book. She's having the cack book. That's what it is. Take a shit book. It's a cack book. She's having the cack book Air, and I'm going to have a laptop. So next week, hopefully, when I come onto this, I can put some effects in properly, like I'm supposed to. But and then that means I might be one of them more content creators going, this. For anyone listening, I'm pointing to the corners. I want to point to the front and stuff. I might be one of them. Who knows? But yeah, so that was another one. And also, I've got another shit show today, right? My daughter Lottie has been freaking out about flies, and she's been flying around, buzzing around, everything sort of thing. And flies are fucking stupid, are they? How stupid is a fucking fly? Now, the flies will fly. You'll open a window. You'll open a window ajar, so it comes open like an inch, right? And it'll fly through that, no problem whatsoever, to get into the house, right? Fly straight the way through into the house, right? Then you go, oh, fuck, there's a fly here. So you open the window as wide as you can. You open the other window as wide as you can. You open the little window as wide as you can. Do you think that fly can fly out of there? I showed Lottie, I said, watch Lottie, it's going to fly around in a circle, and that bit of the window, the middle one, that's not open, it's going to crash into all the time. She goes, why did they do that, Dad? I mean, because I'm stupid. They am stupid. Watch. Literally, within seconds of me saying it, all of a sudden you hear, zzz, 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 zzz. That was all you heard. You'd see the fly hitting the window. Lottie started laughing. He goes, can you get out the window, Dad? So I had to get like a little bit of cord and show it where to go. And I'm like, why do flies do that? I mean, flies have got this vision where they see like 8 different things. Apparently, so it's like they don't see in like 4D or 3D. It's like in 8D or something. That's the reason why you can't squat a fly, because they see it coming before it even comes. Right? So they've got great vision. They can't see an open fucking window. What the fuck's wrong with them? The window's fucking open. Get through the fucking thing. Fuck's sake. Oh, it drives you fucking mad. Really does. Zzz, 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 on a fucking window. God, my nose itching again. Oh, God, yes. Oh, ridiculous. You know, another thing as well. As I said, I work outside in this. You know, all year round, I work outside doing my job. So when it's raining, I'm outside in it. When it's freezing cold, I'm outside in it. When it's hot, I'm outside in it. God, it's been fucking terrible. It really, really has. Oh, I've had an headache for an entire week. I've slept downstairs now every day for the past 2 weeks. My back is fucked. So, is there any masseuses out there who want to give me want to sort out my back, or a chiropractor that thinks they can sort out my back because it's in shoulders, because they am fucked. Honest to God, I may as well have laid on them logs that them fucking hikers slept on. Oh my God, my back and shoulders are fucked. My head's banging. God, my nose is so itchy. I don't know what I've done. I went to have my hair cut just. As you can see, I've had my bush cut. So it's the reason why I'm wearing my cap. And I think I've got some of my hair from my haircut stuck in my nose. Ah, God, it's tickling like anything. But yeah, flies, weather. God, I went to the shop at work. I thought I can get me a drink. So I brought me about like 15 drinks. So obviously, you're just drinking constantly, trying to keep hydrated. Making sure your piss is a normal colour, not like Lucas Aid original. You know, it's got to be like nice and clear. So brought me loads of drinks. I thought, oh God, I'll get me a chocolate, you know, something to eat. Got me a chocolate pizza. He just literally was just goo. That's all it was. He was like a melted Cadbury's egg. I was like, fucking hell, that's a Twix. And he's fucked. The woman goes, hold him in the fridge. Okay. So I opened the fridge. There was even melted in the fridge. Even the fridge will keep the chocolate safe. I thought, fuck that. Hey, but I could be arsed. Yeah, the weather had to be fucking terrible. You know, I was in wet this morning, and like it wore too bad. And me and Shep, we'd be finish off some jobs and stuff that we had to do. And even though, like, you know, it's 6, I mean, on a Saturday morning, we're in at 6. I'm in 6 every day. In 6 every day makes no difference. My job starts, I start at 6 o'clock in the morning. So even like 5:30 when I got to work, it's like, it's still warm, but it's as bad. Literally, we started work at 6 o'clock, started going, bum, 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 started getting the forklift out, started doing stuff. Straight away, the sweat started coming, bum, 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 bum. It's like, holy fucking hell, man. When is this going to end? I'm a 48-year-old bloke. I'm a simple bloke. I like things simple and easy. I do not like the heat. Never have done. Hence the reason why I've never been abroad. When I was growing up, my mates used to do the lads' holidays, full of getting pissed, shagging anything that moved, doing any drug that was available, drinking anything that was available, doing anything, any trips and tours and the discos on the boats and the jet skis and everything. My mates did all that for when we was growing up. Every year, they used to go out twice a year, every year, lads' holiday, shag fest, piss fest, everything. I never went. I stayed because I was playing football. I was living with my nan and granddad, and bills needed paying and stuff. But also, one of the reasons why I didn't go was because I don't like the heat. I don't like the heat. I've got a fan on there. I've got a tower fan there in front of me, and down on that corner down there, I've got a little desk fan. I can barely feel him. You know, he's just. Plus, he gets to the point where they're not on that much. I think these have been on like nearly 24/7. These have for about a week. He starts blowing out like warm air. And if this, apparently we've got to have another heat wave next month. If that's the case, then I'm getting some air conditioning in here. Fuck it. I don't care how much it's going to cost. It's going to cost like, I don't know, a couple of £100. There's air conditioning going in here. There's air conditioning going in the bedroom. Or I might go 80 style and buy them fans, you know, on the ceiling. Where you can put it's like a bulb. I seen someone show me. I think Foy at work showed me. He said he got one. It's like a bulb. It's got like a fan on it. You put it in, and then you when you turn the fan on, the fan comes on, and you can have the light off, and the fan comes round, like they used to have it like in the 80s, sort of thing. But at work, I don't know. I couldn't do it downstairs in the living room because we ain't got the light to do that. But we could do that in the bedroom. So maybe that's an idea. So you could have like a fan and that fan as well, so you can get it from 2 angles. Summit. I think before you said there was about 20 quid or 25 quid off Temu or Sheen or Best Got Market, or I don't know. He got them from somewhere. Or Twat Talk. I think it might have been Twat Talk shop. I ain't got Twat Talk yet, but I've got to get it. And obviously, because I said, I'm going to do a social media blast. I'm going to get on the BlackBerry Messenger, on the MSN. I'm going to get on the what else was that? What else is that? MySpace. Going to get on all that shit. So I'll ask for you where he got it from. I might get one of them fans for the bedroom, but for the living room, but definitely might get one of them big. It's like a cooling unit. It's like about like it looks like your dehumidifier. You chuck a lot of ice cubes in, it blows out cold air. I think I might have to get one of them. That's the investment that is. So yeah, it fucking keeps you sane. Stops me having headaches. A fucking 2 week constant headache. Oh, it just drives me mad. 2 week driving, constant headache, back pain, shoulder pain, old age. Yeah, the weather don't work good. See, Ryan's walking around. God me, he's never got his shirt on. He's never got his shirt on anyway. He's always showing his arms and his muscles and tattoos. He's always doing it. But oh God, anyone think he's just come back from like a fortnight in Tenerife or Ibiza or something? The tan he's got. Jesus Christ, crazy, crazy. Looks like Ross Geller when he went to like Friends and you got spray tanned and you got like all that one side where he's like completely dark. That's what Ryan looks like. Ugh. He loves the sun, but I don't like it. Now me and the lucky Mr. J, we're struggling. We're struggling with him. I think Lottie's struggling as well, to be honest, because I can't go out the house, so we don't like getting her out because it gives her lots of headaches and stuff. So we don't like sending her out. So yeah, hopefully the weather will change soon. Who knows? But that's it for the Dyatlov Pass this week anyway. So next week I'm going to be doing Elisa Lam, and there's Cecil, or as we call it in the UK, the Cecil Hotel. I've been listening to some of that because I had to try and obviously because not many people listen to this podcast. It's not popular, and I understand that. I get that, and I accept that. I accept it. Some people are growing, mom's just hovering. But I love doing this podcast. I really, really do love doing this podcast. Like I said, I don't do the gym no more. I've done the gym for 13 years. That was my church. That was my daily thing. Every single day I was down that gym. I was a big lad. I had I was a big fucking lad. I had some big arms and chest and, I looked impressive from from the neck down. I looked impressive, but head up, no, not that. No one needs to see that. But from the chest down, I looked fucking good. I really did. And, yeah. So now I don't do that no more, just to old age and injuries. I like doing this. I love doing this podcast. I really do. I like the research. I like, talking. So I don't go out. I don't go to the house. I just work. So I don't really talk to that many people neither. So I like talking to people. That's the reason why I said I'd love to do a collaboration with someone. I really would. Do it, to pick an episode and we'll go at it and just bounce off someone. I really would. Or have someone come on like as a co-host. I'd love someone just to co-host an episode, just to bounce ideas off. Because I've got to admit, I don't like reading off scripts. I write a script for every episode. I don't like reading them. As you can tell, I'm not very good at reading. Now, but if I had someone to bounce off, then I could actually just use bullet points, and I'd have to memorize and know what I'm on about and go off the bullet points and then bounce off them. Because doing a podcast on your own is hard. It really is hard. Like I said, I used to watch Matt do Whatcast Extra, and he used to do them really good. And he made it look so easy when Matt used to do. So fair play, Matt. You really did smash them, but it's hard. It really is. Especially when you're doing a topic as well, and you're trying to show photos and stuff as well, and trying to show, videos and things. So I would like to do that. Do a collaboration with someone. Oh yeah, the feelers are out there. If anybody wants to do a collaboration on any episode you want to do, let me know and we'll do it. I will gladly do it. You can either jump onto my episode and I can host it, or I can jump onto your episode and you can host it and I can just chip in with little bits. Or we can or if any of my friends and listen to this podcast want to come over and do a joining, or anyone's welcome. They really am. So yeah, that'd be good. So, but next week is going to be the Elisa Lam one, and after that, I don't know what I'm going to be doing after that one. I've got a few on the pipeline. I've been looking at. I've been looking at Maternal Instincts. That woman who killed a friend and cut the baby out and said the baby's mine, even though she was never pregnant, but told everyone she was. And apparently she brought like a fake bump from Amazon. Crazy shit, I know, but yeah. But that happened on an Harlan Coben book. the TV program on in Netflix called The Stranger. There was a woman who did that in one of his books, and she brought a fake bump. Yeah, then she turned around and said she lost the baby. It was Harlan Coben, one of his books, The Stranger. Very good program. Very good program. Mind you, all his adaptations are good. Runaway with James Nesbitt. Fucking hell, that is so good. That is so fucking good. That is one of the best things I've seen for a while. That was that. Legends was really good on Netflix. The Gathering is really good as well. It's about a young girl who does parkour. Parkour, motherfucker! She does that, and she's a gymnast, and she gets him like a guy who they don't want to get in with, and it starts like going backwards because she wakes up and someone's dead and she's been smashed over the head, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And she tries to puzzle it all together, and it's really good. The Gathering, set in Liverpool, good soundtrack as well, really good soundtrack. So you got watch that. That's very good. Legends, about the guys who go undercover. That's really good. Runaway with James Nesbitt, fucking brilliant. That is really fucking good. It's just like watching that going, wow, wow. And even at the end, you're like, fuck, there's still more twists. Yeah, that was good. And you've got The Stranger. That was good. What's the one with? There was one with Keira Knightley. That was a good one. I forgot what that's called. When Doves Cry, or something like that. There was one with, you called We Meet Again. It's about a guy who he disappeared. He splits up from his girlfriend, and then 10 years later, she finds him on like Tinder, and then she tries to message him, but he completely blanks him. She completely blanks her, and then this guy finds the woman who says she's a police officer. Says your boyfriend has took my mom on a way and kidnapped her. He's like, "What the fuck are you on about?" Yeah, it's a good one. I forgot what it's called now. But yeah, if you've got go on Netflix, type in Harlan Coben, and his one's come up. It's Ashley Walters. He was in Adolescence. He was like the black cop, the black guy, the black police officer in Adolescence. He was also in. Was it in that one? I got 21 seconds to go. 21 seconds to go. 21 seconds to go. I forgot. What was that called? What was that? What was it called? I don't know what it was called. I ain't got a clue. Remember, there's supposed to be some like famous garage band. I got 21 seconds to go. 21 seconds to go. That's all I remember. That's all I remember. So yeah, he was in one of them. Good actor, actually. Very good actor. He's doing well. He's done well. But that's it. Yeah. So that's the Dyatlov pass. That's been and done. So I'm going to send out the audio, and then I'm going to check the photos. I'm on the video for YouTube, and then I'm going to make sure them all okay. Make sure them on there, and I'm going to post it to YouTube. And hopefully, if you do watch the YouTube videos, you'll see the videos on there. If they don't come on, then I haven't got a clue what's going on, because on Rivershite, it's saying that I'm on there. If YouTube are not putting them on there, I don't know what to do on that. I don't know what to do about it. If Rivershite keep pissing me off, which they am doing, there's a chance I'm going to leave Rivershite and fuck off somewhere else. So any other podcasters out there, if you don't use Rivershite, who do you use? Let me know in the comments who you know. As for people who listen to this, let me know in the comments, who do you think killed the Oikers? Let's have a list on the comments so you can find out who it was who killed the Oikers. I'm going KGB, wrong place, wrong time. Let me know in the comments what do you think it is. So that's Saturday for me. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go and get me some tip tops out the fridge. There's one for you if you're not from around here. Does anyone know what a tip top is? Or if you do, what do you call them where you come from? A tip top to me is it's a frozen long thin tube of juice that you put in the freezer. Some people call them different things, but I'm going to go and get about 5 of them. And I think I've got a hidden cornetto in there somewhere. So I had 2 of them. So I'll hide the mint one for Lottie, and I think I'll have the strawberry one. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do today. Thanks for listening and me rambling on. Like I said, if you want to get in touch with me, let's talk about pods@gmail.com. Let's_talk about pods on Instagram. I will start all the social medias up, and then just get in touch. If there's any shows anybody wants doing, let me know, and I'll jump onto one of them shows. Like I said, the Cecil Hotel is next week, and I have got an horror show planned with my friend Rebecca. Dawson and Brad Thomas, but I've got to work out when we can all get together. So I've got to work on that one. But if anybody's got anything else they want me to do, let me know and I'll do it. As for now, that's me. I'll see you later. And podcasts I've been listening to this week. Before I go, I've been listening to Whatcast. He had his show out today about some woman said the World Cup is fixed, and it's a complete load of bullshit. It's just a typical conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearer who believes everything that they hear. I listened to Whatcast, listened to the Bro Oil, listened to numerous Whatcast ones, listened to numerous Bro Oil ones. I listened to Such a Witch, my favourite podcast out there at the moment, and Linz and Nat. They're a great podcast, that is. Listen to all their catalogue one day because I was just struggling at work. I really was. Just couldn't get into anything, couldn't focus. My head was banging. It's like, I just need someone to just, no matter what podcast I was listening to, I just war taking it in, war taking no information in. So I just thought, fuck it, put Such a Witch on, started from the first episode and went all the way through the catalogue. Yeah, so I listened to them. And I was listening to Terry Stone about he had something to do with the Essex murders. But the woman he was talking to was Paul, and there was Paula. She went out with Pat Tate. Fuck me, she's off her fucking rocker. She's all over the place. Yeah, listen to that one. Listen to Peter Crouch. It's like the Peter Crouch podcast. And the Sports Bar, Talk Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Cundy. God, them two blokes. Fuck me. If you want to try something today, right? If the England game's on tonight. So if you watch the England game, go on YouTube, type in England Talk Sports Bar live watch along, and Jason Cundy, Jamie O'Hara, and they have a mystery host with them. Turn the volume off, have the match on, and have them in the background doing like the commentary. Oh my God, it's fucking hilarious. I was in stitches. I was absolute fucking stitches. Fuck me. Yeah, really, really funny. Really funny. Good. Fucking mental. Absolute mental. Yeah, but that's what I've been listening to. I haven't watched much telly this week, to be honest. I haven't really watched much. And so, yeah, it's too hot. So, yeah, signing out now. I'll see you later, guys. Have a good one. Stay warm. Stay hydrated. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. Get plenty of drinks down you. And, yeah, keep safe, people. See you later.